Look, I actually watched a football game this weekend.
You're kidding.
I watched the Penn State game.
Oh, my God. You had to see?
Yeah. I don't know what I was looking for.
What were you supposed to see?
Live from the locker room.
Sandusky's not there.
Yeah. All those fun guys are gone.
Boy, did you see the list of crap he was supposedly or allegedly up to?
The greatest sentence. I almost tweeted this, but I figured if I tweet anything, it's always misunderstood.
Yeah.
Or, I'm reading the New York Post on, let's see, what day is this from? This is Saturday. And this is like the second to last sentence in an article about this guy Sandusky, the alleged child rapist.
Right.
Let's call it what it is. He's a rapist.
Yeah, he might have done a lot of other things, but he was a raper.
Yeah, molestation is,
Too light a term.
Yeah, I mean, what is that?
Too polite.
What is that? It's rape. Anyway, so I'm reading the New York Post, one of the millions of stories about this whole thing. And this sentence, my wife pointed this out to me. She goes, did you see this sentence?
This got to her.
This got to her. She goes, yesterday, you wonder what's going on at Sandusky's house. From what I understand, I thought he was in jail, but he's out on bail, right?
Yeah, he's just been charged. He made his bail pretty quickly.
Yesterday, vandals shattered a window at Sandusky's home that looks out onto a school playground.
Oh, boy.
That's like the greatest sentence.
Oh, he just surrounded himself with children.
Like some people want a view of the ocean or of a lake. They dream of a waterfront view.
Yeah. He always had to see kids.
Yeah. I think we should investigate anybody who has a view of a school playground because no one wants that view. Like, that's maybe the worst view in the world. And let's say investigate
and the noises that come out of it.
Anyone who has enough money to not have that view should be investigated. Yeah. Because why would you want the view of a playground if you're this guy Sandusky?
Yeah, you're dealing with kids all day, in that locker room. You'd think you'd be sick of it. Also, he adopted a bunch of kids.
Yeah, oh yeah. I wonder what their story is. A regular sort of healthy heterosexual man, which is what he was posing as, would be Sandusky, who lives across from a modeling agency.
Has a view of models.
He has a view onto a school playground. Wow, what a view. He must have gazed out that window. Wouldn't you love to interview, like, his wife or somebody and just go...
Oh, can you imagine? Now, she's in there trapped with him.
I mean, yeah, she's got to be like, he loved looking out that window. He's like a wolf in a hen house. But look, this guy's the biggest. Again, if it's true, I don't know. They got to, innocent until proven guilty. All that.
Right.
But this guy's a fucking animal. That goes without saying. But when I was watching this,
we do know, Howard, is he admitted to showering naked with a couple of boys. He got caught doing that.
Oh, Robin, that's nothing.
And he admitted that was wrong.
Right, inappropriate.
And said he'd never do it again.
Here's the thing. I'm watching that Penn State game. And, it was so offensive when I see these young college kids, some women, some men, holding up signs, Joe Pa, we love you. And then they have Joe, we miss you. Joe, we love you. And then I think at some point over the course of the last few days, there was some sort of vigil held for Joe Pa.
Well, not only that, the first night, I think there was almost like a riot. Weren't they turning over a news van? Yeah. And stuff like that.
Look, let me explain it to the young dummies who might possibly be at Penn State.
It doesn't say much about the education.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It really, they should just close the school down enough and give the money from the sale of the school, whatever their endowment is, to these young kids whose lives will always be ruined. When you get fucked in the ass by look at this fucking guy. He's no Brad Pitt. At least if he was handsome. When you get fucked in the ass and you're 10-year-old and you're blowing this fucking old creep.
Oh, I mean, reading the stories is just disgusting.
Your life's over. You might as well just put a bullet in your head.
Well, I don't think that, but go on.
Your life is over.
You get the right counseling.
Yeah.
You can go on.
Spend your life in a therapist's office.
Did you read the actual report, any of it?
Yeah, I couldn't get through it. There's a thing circulating around, which is actual court documents, you know, when they...
The grand jury?
The grand jury. And they go into graphic detail of what this guy was up to. And I got through about a half a page, and I just couldn't read it.
So I'll tell you what his move was, because it's so... Like, in your mind, you think, like, he just rapes these kids, and that's horrific. But there's so much more to it.
There's a seduction.
Yeah, so what he would do is he would have them stay at his house.
Right.
And he would have this kid stay in the basement. And this one kid they call Victim 1, you know, after this went on for a while, he would, like, hide. You know, Sandusky would go to the basement. He would hide in the basement.
Right.
But Sandusky would find him. And one of the moves was Sandusky would climb on top of him, put him in a bear hug, and then roll him over so that the kid was on top of him. And that was to, he called that to crack the back. You know, he needed to crack his back.
Back cracking was his big thing.
So that was like his foreplay.
And bear hugging.
Robin, any dudes ever try that with you?
No.
But they said, you know, you talk about how he got away with it for so long. At one point, after this went on, they said he performed oral sex on the kid 20 times, made the kid do it to him once. So finally, the kid and his mother, they just cut off contact with him.
Right.
But Sandusky knew where the kid went to school. He was involved with that sports program. So he just bypassed the mother, went right to the school, and would take the kid out of class.
He took the kid out of class without telling the mom.
Right.
Which, you know, you wonder, how does that happen?
Because
because he's a very trusted man.
Right. He was involved with their sports program. But they said one night the wrestling coach came in and he saw a light on where there shouldn't have been a light on. And he went in there and Sandusky and this kid were on the ground and they both jumped up and said, you know, Sandusky was showing wrestling moves. And the wrestling coach thought that was weird because he was a football coach, not a wrestling coach.
Hey, he knows a lot about sports in general.
But, like, that stuff went on and on and on.
Well, look,
but that is typical child molester stuff.
Well, let me say something. You know, these kids, the most offensive thing was that these kids are so stupid.
What?
That these kids are so stupid at Penn State that they don't understand what they're writing on their chests and carrying signs and bellies and vigils. For Joe Pa. Joe Pa is a fucking scumbag. And this guy, first of all, this redheaded coach, McQueary.
Yeah, they had to keep him off the sidelines as well. They thought he'd be too much of a distraction this time around.
Well, listen, this McQueary is a fucker. They deserve everything they're getting in spades. I don't know. This McQueary is such a, you know... There's a jock mentality. It's the same mentality that the Catholic Church, how they circle around all the priests. There's a jock mentality. We're football players. We stand together, you know.
The reputation of the team or the school is more important than anything.
Yeah, let me explain to you. It's a dumb fucking game where guys beat each other's brains out. You enjoy it. You enjoy watching it, great. But if you work for a football organization, you're dealing with a bunch of dummies, for the most part. And this McQueary character, imagine he saw. Now think about this behavior. He saw this fucking in the ass in the shower, blowing. I don't know what they're doing with these 10-year-old. What this guy?
No, this was anal rape that he saw.
Anal rape he saw. So what does he do? He goes to his daddy. Now this is a grown man. It shows you he's like a dummy. He went to his dad, and I guess his dad and him figured out, we'll go to Joe Pa. I love that nickname, Joe Pa, like he's the big daddy.
Yeah, he's the worst pa ever.
Yeah, Joe Pa. Joe Pa, who knows how to run a football team. You know what? Congratulations. So he goes to Joe Pa, and Joe Pa figures, well, he'll go tell the school, and you know the rest. These are all scumbags. Who does that?
How do you see a 10-year-old being raped anally?
And not jump in.
And you don't stop it.
Right.
You don't at least try.
Crowbar him apart.
He said that, you know, it was obvious, you know, according to the report, both the kid and Sandusky saw him, and he just left.
What a hero this McQueary would have been if he went. He's a big Bolvan. You should see the size of this fucking guy. If he went over to this Sandusky, took his fist and rammed it right down his throat and knocked out his teeth.
Yeah, maybe this kid would have some, you know, better opinion of humans.
It's unbelievable. Tony, you're wrong. There was one rally held for the victims, the young boys, and there was another rally held for Joe Pa.
Well, you said candlelight vigil.
There was a rally for Joe Pa, how much they love Joe Pa. And if you watch the Penn State game, they had signs. We miss you, Joe Pa. Don't tell me.
I understand it, but there was you said a candlelight vigil for Joe Pa, and I was there, and there were 10,000 people, and it was for the victim.
No, I know about that one. There were people, there was about 150 people outside of Joe Pa's place.
Yeah, but it wasn't a candlelight.
All right, candlelight. Get off my phone. You got to argue with me. No cars were overturned because of the victims, by the way. Trust me. There were angry people who you get angry because Joe Pa's no longer at the football program. First of all, what is that, a toupee he wears? He's got the hair of a 20-year-old.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. I shouldn't talk. I have the hair of a 20-year-old. I swear it's not a toupee. But, look, I couldn't care if Joe Pa, where he goes. Who I feel bad for is, number one, the children who were victimized, and I'm sure we're going to see lists and lists of them. I mean, this is tip of the iceberg stuff. I don't know what happened to that DA where he went. This is some story. I feel bad for these kids who go to Penn State, who pay money to go to that college. They've completely ruined that experience.
Yeah, even some of the sponsors have been dropping out of, the football coverage.
I even feel bad for these kids who play football and they decided to go to Penn State. They're fucked, too. But most of all, the victims, the children, imagine.
Well, actually, the school is being victimized. The people who go to the school, they're being victimized as well.
Can you imagine the anguish of the parents of these children who now find out what happened? I mean, my kids, 3 beautiful daughters, I can imagine when they were 10 years old, if I got word, even when they were adults, that somebody was fucking them in the ass in a shower and raping them. I really, honestly, and then I found out that one of the guys saw it and didn't punch the fucking guy in the head or call the police if he's too much of a pussy.
Well, he was caught so many times. Again, I told you, he was caught having showers, naked with other kids.
I can't.
And no, that wasn't reported, I don't think. Somehow, he kept getting away with this stuff.
Wow.
And that leads to other victims. As long as he's getting away with it, he's going to do it again.
Well, listen, I don't know what to tell you. This is some story, but the best sentence in the paper was that McQuarrie had a bird's eye view of a school playground. Remember that movie where Kevin Bacon was a child molester? He lived across from a playground.
Yeah, and he was always looking out the window.
Yeah, it was driving him nuts. He was trying to beat this thing, and he couldn't. But don't live outside a playground. Ugh. So, I don't know. If you're a student at Penn State and you're somehow missing your Joe Pa, you really need your head examined. What? I said McQuarrie. Right. What are you saying, Benji? Just speak up.
A Sandusky was across from the school.
No. He's not talking about McQuarrie across from the school.
I said Sandusky.
You just said McQuarrie was across from the school.
Oh, I did?
I didn't
I'm
hear
not
you
paying
say
attention to myself. I'm busy thinking about you. How'd you do this weekend? Not McQuarrie, Sandusky. That's who I mean. You know who I mean. I can't keep these guys straight.
I know.
And believe me, I shouldn't know their names. What,